Hi guys, it's Neodyinamite and welcome back to Anno 1800. Now, ladies and gentlemen, today we're gonna try to do something different. I'm gonna actually show you how to enable trade routes. You're probably like wondering, well, that's actually quite good because I'm confused. I don't know how trade routes works. Trade routes are basically a thing that appeared in the very first Anno. That was like I think that was actually in the first Anno. Probably it was. It needed to actually be like a thing. Basically, this is the backbone of the gameplay. You have many islands, and you need to establish trade routes between those islands if you want to actually grow your city to mega cities, to actually like huge cities. Sooner or later, you have to move some of the production chains to a different islands just to make more space for houses and stuff like that. So basically, this thing is for you. Now, the thing is, normally in Anno, you need to have like a cargo ship. Then you need to have two different harbors on two different islands, and then you just simply need to enable a trading route. Yeah, that sounds simple, right? But however, in Anno, I believe 20 to 50, the developers have added also a new way of transporting, and they decided to add that thing also in the Anno 1800. How exactly this thing works? Well, let me show you. So I have, as you can see, two islands over here. We actually did the pig sausages actually layout over here. If you remember, if that video is actually up already, I don't know, we're gonna see. I just don't know on which order I'm gonna upload those videos. And then I have my main island over here. I want to get rid of those pig farms and sausages slaughterhouse actually from this one. And I need to enable the trade route. So how are we gonna do this thing? Well, it's quite simple. Now, basically, the main ships that you're gonna try to use for trading around, at least at the beginning of Anno 1800, let's be honest over here, there are like ships, like heavy ships that you have to make from a dry dock. We won't be covering those in this video. Basically, if you will understand the way those ships work, then you will understand exactly the way the other ships will work as well. So, at the beginning of the game, when you build yourself the shipyard, which I have on the opposite side of my island, this thing over here, you have the possibility to build yourself 5 different ships. You have the schooner, you have the gunboat, you have the frigate, the clipper, and of course the ship of the line. Now, for trading, you can technically use any of those ships. In practice, you can't. I mean, you can, but I actually don't advise that thing, simply because the military ships, which are the ones with the cannons obviously, are just way too slow with cargo. They have the means of defending themselves, but if you're gonna give them cargo, they're gonna be even slower, and that actually is gonna cripple your economy because you just lack resources and supplies. So for the purpose of actually like trading around, you either have to use the schooner or you have to use the clipper. The clipper of course get unlocked after you get the artisans in your city. If you really need to, you could try to use the frigate. It's like, well, it's okay, it's not the best, but if you really have to, you can try to use the frigate. Or you could try to use your flagship. Your flagship is also quite decent of a ship. It has 3 cargo slots for like any goods. It's like decent speed as well. So keep him in mind if you really will have to get yourself like a cargo ship in case, like, let's say, one of your main cargo ships got destroyed by pirates or something like that. So the schooner is basically the first one. It has the possibility to put one item socket inside of it. That could be, for example, like sail. Now the schooner is actually quite good if you have like a very short trade route, let's say between 2 islands that are like really close to one another. For example, this is like a good example. Having ships, like using large ships over here would be probably like a waste. So using a schooner over here would be probably a way better idea, since this is like super close. So you could try to use the schooner over here. However, for like bigger distances or maybe going to the new world, the schooner, not exactly advising this one. It's okay to use him at the very beginning, but once you actually develop your city, you need to have something bigger, and this is where the clipper actually comes to play. He also have only one item socket, but he can hold up for 4 different cargo slots, up to 50 items. So like 50 tons actually, you get the idea. So yeah, like he has double the size of the schooner. and also he's like a lot faster. Yeah, the upkeep is bigger, but also he has more hit points. And as I said, basically this ship is more suitable for making long distance transports. So like the New World, or for example, if you have islands really far away, or if you are at war with somebody, the Clipper will basically survive a little bit better. Yeah, he still will need an escort, because this ship does not have any type of weaponry on him. But as I said, he's just gonna handle like attacking a little bit better. So having him on that and during wartime is actually like a better idea. So in order to enable actually trade routes, you have to press this button over here. Under your map, you have those 3 different buttons. You have the world map, diplomacy, and the routes. Basically, this one is the one you need to use. If you're gonna click it, you're gonna get yourself open the map. Now, this is the old world, and of course, if you're gonna unlock it, you're gonna get yourself the new world as well. Now, in order to create a trade route, you need to create, press this button, create route. You click it, and with this one, you can actually create yourself a route. Now, the thing is, as I said, the developers have took the idea from the previous Anno, and you can also create something called a charter route. Charter route is basically that you hire a ship, like a third-party ship, and he will do the transportation for you. The thing is that if you, for example, get your ship destroyed, or all of a sudden you need to transport something really quick, then the charter route is probably like a good option to use. It's not actually that efficient when it comes to payment, because you have to pay quite the money in order to use the charter route. Also, this one is only capable of transporting one type of item at the time. So unlike the schooner or the clipper, it's like super ineffective when it comes to transporting something in large quantities. It's more of a, like a just in case, or your ship got destroyed, you need to quickly fill the hole, otherwise your entire economy is just gonna collapse on itself. So let's actually get yourselves the charter route. We're gonna try to select the goods first. We're gonna transport the sausages, of course. We're gonna select the pickup harbor, the one where I have the actual pig farms and stuff like that. And then you have to select the destination harbor, which is gonna be my main island. Then you select how many goods you need to transport, and the captain will tell you his price. For example, this one will cost me 50 bucks. I think this is per route, if I remember correctly. So you then press the charter button, and after a while, a ship will appear. And that ship will be responsible for transporting the goods from the harbor you have designated. I think he actually is swimming. There he is. So he actually will appear from outside of the map. Now, the thing is, this guy can get destroyed. The pirates can attack him. The enemy ships can also attack him. Everybody can attack him. So using him to transport the goods next to enemy harbor that has cannons, no, it's not gonna work. This ship still will get destroyed. The difference is that basically you have to pay a lot more than normally for a ship of this size or capabilities. So as you can see over here, the ship that I have hired will now go automatically to the harbor, pick up the goods, and then go directly to the destination port. Yeah, he can pick up a little bit more resources than like a standard schooner, unless you're gonna upgrade the schooner with certain characters that are available in the game, captains, first mateys, or maybe better sails and stuff like that. So you can squeeze 80 tons of resources on a schooner as well. You just need certain items to do so. But as I said, while my schooner only cost me 15 coins to upkeep, this one's gonna cost you 50. And it also applies to other ships that are in the game. Like if you actually create like a longer route, then yeah, the money will increase. But let's say that you actually have a free ship and you want to use that ship to transport resources around. Well, no problem. You click once again the route, you create the route, and then instead of pressing the charter route, you click on the gigantic button, create trade route. So you select then the ship. So for example, let's select this time the schooner that I have somewhere over here. There you go. You're gonna have basically the list of all of your ships in the fleet. So you have to look for the one that you want to actually pick. And then, yeah, hello Annie, bye bye. Then you have to select the 2 different ports that you will try to use in order to transport the resources around. Now, first you have to click the load button. You have to pick what you want to load on this port and the amount of resources that you want to load. Feel free to do this thing twice if you want to, for example, transport 100 ton of resources. And then you have to click the unload buttons on the destination port in order to obviously unload this. Now, you're not limited to just make 2 ports. You can add as many ports to the route as you want. It's just depending on the ship size, the time, and so on and so forth. Now, there are additional buttons over here that you could try to use. For example, you can order the ship to wait for the goods. So he will stick in the port till 50 tons of goods, for example, already. You can either order him to wait to unload, which means that he will wait at the destination port till he is unloaded. Otherwise, he won't leave that port. Or you can basically tell him to discard cargo. So if there's gonna be anything else on the ship, then he's just gonna throw it overboard to make space for like additional goods and stuff like that. At the moment, let's actually pick wait to unload on the destination port. So he's gonna wait there till he'll be completely empty. There's no point for him to travel around with full cargo. So let's select that thing. And also, in the meantime, we can try to select on the loading island to sell the sausages that will basically overflow our warehouse. If you don't know how that works, I mean, this is quite simple. You just have to select the harbor itself over here, look for the sausages, left click on it, and then you have to click on this arrow over here. Put it on sell and set the limit above which the game will automatically sell the resources from this particular harbor. So after you set up everything, my schooner have decided to departure into the loading port, where he will load the goods and then go back to the home port. Now, if, for example, somehow the enemy will try to block you using the harbor cannons and stuff like that, or you want to basically the ship to go on a specific way, you can do that. You cannot do this thing with the charter route, because, well, obvious reasons, but you can try to do this thing with your own ship. If you're gonna see the trade route that you want to change, you will see those little things on the map over here. You can then click and grab them and pull them around the map. The way that this little, let's say, line goes will indicate to which part of the route this thing is assigned to. So, for example, I've ordered my ship that if he'll be going from the loading island to the destination island, he has to go like a little bit on the side, like let's say over here. And then if he'll be going empty, I want him to go around this island from this side. So we have to first go over here, change the course, and then go to the loading island once again. But let's say that you have finally unlocked yourself the new world. You are making goods over there, and as you all know, at some point your citizens actually will require the goods from the new world. Also keep in mind that the DLCs have been announced for Anno, which of course will give us new lands, and that means more new worlds to explore and to build and basically trade around with. So that means that sooner or later you will actually need to establish a trade route that will go outside of your map. Yeah, you heard me right. So how you do that? Well, it's also quite simple. Let me just quickly go to the new world just to give you like an idea. Oh, that's actually quite nice, thank you. Now, you will build yourself a colony. For example, this colony over here. This colony of mine has the production of rum that I need in the old world, and also we are making here the fabric, the cotton fabric, which I also need to produce certain items back in the old world. So how do I transport all this thing? I have left myself a little ship in my harbor over here, the Clipper. He's empty, he's not doing anything, so we're gonna use him. In order to create a route that will go between the worlds, you have to do exactly the same thing. So you create the route button, then you press the create route, you press the trade route, and now you have to go into actually like designing. So the nifty mallet will be the ship I'm gonna try to use. Where is he exactly? There he is. You pick him. Now you need to pick the loading harbor, which is gonna be this island over here. Then you click the old world button, and then you go to the designated island. For example, this is gonna be my main island, right? So you select it over here as such. Simple enough. Now we're gonna try to load, because this is the Clipper, so he has 4 cargo loads that we could try to use. I'm gonna order him to load 3 full sacks of rum as such, and then I'm gonna order him to load 1 full stack of cotton fabric as such, and then I'm gonna tell him to unload everything in the old world as such. Then just simply click accept button and he will begin the transportation right away. As you can see, he's leaving the port, well, actually the waiting station. He now has to go to the harbor itself to begin the loading, so that's actually just gonna take him a while because this is a bigger ship. So keep in mind that once you create like a bunch of trade routes, for example, you have yourself the main island, the island where you're gonna have the museums, the zoos, the investors, all of the things that will give you the most money, your main island, your starting island. At some point, you may actually get to the moment where you have so many ships going to that island that the harbor will be overwhelmed with the amount of cargo that he needs to load or unload. So what you do then? You have in your harbor building option something called, if I'm actually gonna find it, because apparently it's not over here, something called the pier. Now the pier basically adds you 1 additional loading and unloading slot for your harbor. So let's say that 2 ships now would like to load or unload at the same time. That's not a problem because one of the ships will try to use the main harbor while the other ship will simply use the pier and unload or load his goods over there. As such, 2 ships loaded, 2 ships departing from my harbor right away. And off he goes back to the old world. And yes, a fully loaded clipper is actually quite slow, but then still a little faster than a fully loaded schooner. So keep that thing in mind when it's gonna come to you picking the right ship for the right trade route. Now, of course, you're not limited to only 1 ship per trade route. Let's say, for example, I would like to have 2 different ships to go like from the loading and unloading. That's actually not a problem as well. Just remember that you cannot order the escort of ships that will go between regions. If I'm gonna, for example, now order somebody to escort the clipper who's currently going to the old world, then the escort ship will stop at the very border of the map. He won't follow the clipper to open seas, and he won't emerge with him on the opposite side of the scenario. So yeah, like that's like a thing. It's just probably like way easier just to initiate ceasefire with the pirates or try to destroy them. That's also like a thing.
Is that all you have?
Ceasefire, and my ship is safe. But still, that does not answer the question. If you want to add more than 1 ship, that's actually quite simple. You have to go to back to the routes. You have to route for the route that you want to actually change. For example, let's change the ones that we are sending from the new world back to the old world. And I want to put 1 more ship over here. So simply you press the add a ship to this route button, the same way as you'll be adding like a new ship to this route. And let's then, for example, say that I want to use this clipper over here. And as such, it's done. So now the ship from the old world, who's currently standing in the dock, will have to go to the border of the map in order to initiate loading and unloading. Also, if you really want to, you can set tradings with the NPCs. That's also quite easy using the trade route systems. So for example, let's say that we want to sell the potatoes to the prison island, which he can buy whatever amounts you're gonna throw at him. So that's quite easy. You also have to click the create route button. Then you have to assign a specific ship. Let's say that we're gonna try to assign the flagship itself. Then you create the route. So you start from the loading island, then you go to the unloading island as such, and then you pick how many goods you want to transport over there. So let's say that I want to transport 2 full sacks of potatoes, and then order him to transport those goods back to the prison island. So my flagship at the moment is waiting in line to get loaded, so that's gonna take a while because there's like other ships in line waiting as well to get loaded or unloaded. But so now finally the flagship is able to get loaded. I'm just gonna drop this thing to the harbor because we don't need it over there. He loads 100 tons of potatoes and then he departures to the island where he's gonna try to sell this thing for a little bit of money. Just be sure that you're gonna maintain the constant production if you are actually using certain items for your own chain of productions to maintain happiness on the island. But sooner or later, finally, the Clipper from the new world has arrived at our home harbor, and he's gonna unload all of the goods that we've told him. So, he's getting closer. He has 150 tons of rum and 50 tons of cotton. I loaded quite fast, no problem over there. And as soon as he's gonna finish loading, he will return back to the new world for new cargo for our home island, where we can create new items and goods for our citizens, just like that. While in the same time, the flagship is almost at the prison island, where he's gonna try to sell the potatoes for a little bit of money. I mean, the prisoners need to eat something, so if you have actually like a bunch of potatoes, yeah, you can get rid of them just like that at the prison island. But that's much of a problem.
Attention for the Admiral.
Unloaded 1,600 bucks in the pocket with no problem.
Extortion.
Yes, usually he's never happy, no matter how many potatoes you're gonna try to sell him. But hey, that's money, right? Money does not stink, as they say. So, ladies and gentlemen, this has been hopefully a little video that's gonna explain you how to create trade routes, how to use them, what's the difference between a trade route and a charter. I think I've covered everything, I hope. If I've actually forgot about something, please let me know in the comment section below. I will try to explain if there like some confusion or something was just not clear enough. So yeah, feel free to do so. Anyway, I'm rambling too much, so for now, I'm gonna leave this thing as obvious. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you liked the episode, this was a lot. I'll see you all in the next video.